ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So here is a very wonderful description about why we should hear Srimad Bhagavatam, why we should hear the activities of the pure devotees of the Lord, why we should hear the activities of the Supreme Lord which He has performed wonderfully. Because here we may be seeing that how fortunate are these devotees of that higher planets who were directly able to see the activities of the Lord. They were seeing the boar incarnation of the Lord, they were glorifying the Lord, and the Lord is also reciprocating with them. He was very pleased when He heard the glorification. He was able to understand these are all great sages, great devotees glorifying me. So, one may wonder that they were very fortunate, these great devotees, directly able to see the wonderful leelas of the Lord. But Bhagavatam is explaining that similarly wonderful is the narration of the Lord. Not only the activities of the Lord when directly seen with our eyes, they are wonderful. Even the narrations of the Lord, anyone who hears, even though we may not be physically present in that plane, they are still auspicious, they are still completely full of potency of the Supreme Lord. There is not even 1 cent% difference between directly seeing the Supreme Lord's glories, His wonderful pastimes, and hearing that in Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is what is being described here. That Maitreya Rishi is saying that after all these things were directly perceived, this wonderful Leela of the Lord as Varahadev was perceived by these great devotees. And then he is saying, similarly, anyone who hears these wonderful pastimes and narrates them, and that is how Maitreya Rishi is narrating. So anyone who hears and who narrates, the Lord in the heart becomes immediately pleased with such a devotee. So that is what it says here. Ya evam etam harimedaso hare katham subhadram. The narrations of the Lord are subhadram. They are completely filled with all auspiciousness. So Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, actually we all want to hear. We all have a lot of craving for hearing. But unfortunately, our craving is for hearing Gramya Katha, not Krishna Katha. And Prabhupada explains that actually it is a fact. You will find people in the Western countries specifically, Prabhupada gave that example, that they subscribe bundles and bundles of newspapers. Isn't it? In every house you will find, in India at least you will find at least 1 newspaper, 2 newspaper like that. And these people, they subscribe bundles of newspaper, bundles of magazines, This Week magazine, India Today and This Today and so many. Isn't it? And Prabhupada says that it is so dear to them that when they are sleeping also they will keep it nicely on their chest. So this is the inclination of the people. Unfortunately, the problem is all these different katha which we are inclined to hear, they're all of inferior quality. There are two kinds of katha Prabhupada is saying in the purport. One is superior, one is inferior. Atma, the spirit soul, is of superior nature. And these qualities of katha, what we are hearing about material things, material conception of life, they are of inferior quality. They cannot give satisfaction to the soul. That is what we should understand. Krishna katha is of spiritual quality. They are transcendental in nature. And that is what can give real satisfaction to the soul. So, Prabhupada is explaining about this very important word, Katham Subhadram. By nature itself, Krishna Katha is Subhadra, filled with auspiciousness. That is why Prabhupada gave so much stress on hearing Krishna Katha. Prabhupada said, does not matter. Give chance to people to hear. Let them read even one word written by a pure devotee of the Lord. It will change the life of a person. It will bring about a revolution in the life of a person. Why? Because Subhadra. It is very auspicious. The moment Krishna Katha goes inside the heart of a person, it will bring about a revolution. Because they are not ordinary words. They are filled with spiritual potency of the Lord. That is the difference. See? Material subject matter are filled with contamination. So whatever we hear, the more we hear material katha, gramya katha, the more we are becoming contaminated. The more we hear Krishna katha, even unwillingly, even if we don't understand anything. Isn't it? Prabhupada used to say, does not matter, even they are not able to understand, give them a chance to hear. So the most important essence of opening this Krishna conscious center, we should understand the most important reason is to give people chance to hear Krishna Katha. To give people chance to narrate and to hear Krishna Katha. You see? Because these messages of the Lord, it is filled with complete spiritual potency of the Lord. And that is why we find Prabhupada had so much faith in chanting, hearing and hearing Bhagavad Katha. So much so that when Prabhupada landed in America, in Boston for the first time, and when he wrote in his Jaladuta diary, what did he write? He is saying that people here are filled with Tamoguna and Rajoguna. But then he is saying, my dear Lord, your wonderful narrations, somehow or other, if these people hear your wonderful narration, that will bring about a change. Just a few days back when Prabhupada's disappearance day, we were singing that song, Boru Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamera Pati. So in that Prabhupada explains about the potency of hearing Srimad Bhagavad Katha. So right in the middle of his poetry, Prabhupada is explaining those verses. Shanvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantastohi Abhudrani Vidhunoti Suhratsatam. You see? So this is the auspicious nature of this Krishna Katha. So Prabhupada is explaining that this Srimad Bhagavatam, these wonderful pastimes of the Lord, they are not only wonderful, these pastimes of the Lord are filled with mercy of the Lord. These wonderful pastimes, why they are filled? Because if anybody narrates them, if anybody hears these wonderful pastimes of the Lord, he is not only his material existence will end, and the more number of people he gives them a chance to hear Krishna Katha, even those people's material existence will come to an end. That's why they're called auspicious. See, auspicious is not simply, some kind of material benefits we get for some time. Auspiciousness, real auspiciousness means which can bring about end to all our miseries. That is real auspiciousness. What is so great about so-called auspiciousness of material philanthropic works, what people are carrying on? What is so much auspicious about that? Because it does not terminate the problem of a person. It does not terminate the real problem of people. So what is so great auspiciousness about that? Isn't it? Suppose somebody is suffering from want of some material benefits. Somebody is not having food to eat, somebody is not having clothes, somebody is not having shelter. One may solve his problem for some time, but what exactly auspiciousness it can bring about in the life of the person? Isn't it? So just by giving some material benefits to a person, that is not real auspiciousness. Real auspiciousness means which can end all his miseries. Isn't it? If a person understands that actually I do not have to anymore take material birth, because the moment we have material body, all the demands of the bodies will come. So the moment we give up this material conception of life and we take back our spiritual bodies, then all these material existence, material problems are solved. So Srimad Bhagavat Katha, Krishna Katha is auspicious because it can terminate our material existence from this world. So Prabhupada is saying here, in his various incarnations, the Lord appears, acts. So the Lord, He appears, and then what does He do? He is not simply sitting idly. The Lord acts wonderfully. You see, the Lord appears, He acts wonderfully, and not only He acts wonderfully, and only if those people were very fortunate when the Lord appeared, only such people were fortunate, they were able to see His, beautiful glories of the Lord. And Prabhupada says the Lord leaves behind a narrative history which is as transcendental as He Himself. You see, this is the meaning of spiritual potency. Not only the activities of the Lord are potent, anyone who hears such a narration, it is filled with 100% same potency. In that sense, we should never feel ourselves unfortunate. Oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was present 500 years back. People who were present with him were very fortunate. No. The same fortune we can also have if we simply hear and follow the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The same instructions the Lord gave to in the form of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, as much fortunate Arjuna was directly receiving from Krishna, we can have the same fortune, exactly the same fortune as Arjuna had, if we also receive the same narrations in Parampara. That is the potency of receiving the message in Parampara. 100% the same potency is there. And actually we can see that. Here we are seeing the same thing is explained by Netre Rishi, and the same thing practically we can see in Bhagavad Gita also. You see, we find when Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna's, Prabhupada was explaining just few days back, Arjuna's consciousness was on the material platform. After he heard Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, what does he say? Nashta moham. All my illusion is gone. And he became situated on transcendental platform. Right? When he heard directly Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, there is explanation given in Bhagavatam. After disappearance of Lord Krishna, the same Arjuna again became bewildered. Once again he became bewildered. And then he was thinking that now Krishna is not present with me. How to resolve that bewilderment? Earlier when I was bewildered, the Lord very, very mercifully gave me those instructions. My bewilderment was over. Once again what he did, now Krishna was not physically present. He had already wound off his pastime. Once again he just tried to remember the same instruction. And once again he became situated out of his bewilderment. You see? So we see the same thing, the same potency. Arjuna himself personally showing when Krishna was present and when Krishna gave me those messages of Bhagavad Gita, my bewilderment was over, my ignorance was over, my illusion was over. And the same thing when the Lord wound off and later on, just by remembering the same instructions, again his bewilderment was completely over. Again he became situated on transcendental platform. So the potency of Krishna Katha, the Lord leaves behind is same potency. And what is this Bhagavatam actually? We see that also. What is this Bhagavatam? This Bhagavatam is a great yajna. In the forest of Naimisharanya, what is exactly happening? Shaunakadi rishis, they are all hearing from Suta Goswami. What is this Bhagavatam all about? Isn't it? We say Bhagavatam. What is it all about? It is hearing the pastimes of the Lord. Suta Goswami is narrating and Shaunakadi rishi, they are hearing. Similarly, Shukdev Goswami is explaining and Maharaj Parikshit and all other great sages, they are hearing. This is the meaning of Bhagavatam. Similarly, we are all coming in the parampara and we are all hearing from Prabhupada. The same potency, what Suta Goswami is giving to Shaunakadi rishi, what Shukdev Goswami is giving to Parikshit Maharaj and great sages, the same potency is available in Srimad Bhagavatam. Provided we hear it from person Bhagavatam. That is very important. Bhagavata Paragiya Bhagavata Sthane. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, one should hear book Bhagavatam from person Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada is that person Bhagavatam from whom we are all hearing. Then Prabhupada also explains, then what is our role? Right? We may all wonder, then what is our role in? Our role is to bring people to that person Bhagavatam. That is our role. And when we speak from the same Bhagavatam as we have understood from Prabhupada, it is coming in touch with that person Bhagavatam. So, it is not that because we are all impure. So, what is the benefit we can give to the people? The benefit we can give to the people is to deliver the Bhagavatam as given by personal Bhagavatam, Prabhupada, to the people. This is our role, what we can do. So, Prabhupada is saying here about how every one of us is fond of narrating and hearing so many subject matters. Every one of us is fond of hearing some wonderful narration. But most stories are neither auspicious nor worth hearing. So neither they are auspicious, that just by hearing it will be very auspicious, they are not auspicious. And they are not even worth hearing. Because not only they are not auspicious, they will entangle us more and more. They will increase our miseries. They will not decrease our miseries. You see. Why? Prabhupada is saying, by nature, they are of inferior quality of material nature. All the different kathas we hear in the material world, they are all of inferior quality. They cannot do any good to people. By nature, they are of inferior quality. They have no potency. Whereas, subject matter of Krishna is filled with Krishna's potency. That is the distinction. So, by nature itself, spiritual sound is filled with potency. It is very auspicious. Every living entity is of superior quality, spirit, soul, and nothing material can be auspicious for him. Intelligent person should therefore hear personally and cause others to hear the descriptive narrations of the Lord's activities. For that will destroy pangs of material existence. See, this is very important. Prabhupada is saying for devotees, these two things are very important. Personally we should hear, and then we should narrate, we should give chance for other people to hear. This is very important. Anyone remembers today's in conversation, Prabhupada talks about love of Krishna. How do we exhibit our love for Krishna? We all say we all want to love Krishna. Huh? Yes, Prabhupada says, if you love Krishna, then you will like to talk about Krishna. If you love your child, what do? We talk about his activities, we explain about his activities to people, right? Sometimes you will find, people, those who are very fond of their children, if somebody else comes, they will explain, my son does like this, he does like this, he goes like this. Why? Because he loves him. Similarly, if we love Krishna, we will be very enthusiastic to describe about Krishna. Isn't it? So, I'll just read that conversation, very interesting Prabhupada says about that. Similarly, Prabhupada says, if you love your children, how will you exhibit your love? Make them Krishna conscious. Actually, if you love your children, then you should make them Krishna conscious. Okay, Prabhupada is saying, what is our movement? Why I have come to your country? Because to make you Krishna conscious. So there is love of Krishna. Otherwise, what is the business? I have come to you. I have no business because I love Krishna. I want to see everybody in the world to become Krishna conscious. See? This is the meaning of loving Krishna. He wants to see everybody becomes Krishna conscious. Otherwise, why in this old age we are trying so much? Similarly, if you love your children to make them Krishna conscious, then produce hundreds of children and make them. That is love of Krishna. And if you make them cats and dogs, then one children producing is also sinful. So that is the meaning of love of Krishna. Na mochedya samupetya mrityum. If you cannot deliver the children from the imminent hands of death, that is the condition. And if you can actually do that, then become fathers of hundreds of children. If you make, that is love of Krishna. Unless you love Krishna, why you should be interested to make others Krishna conscious? Let them go to hell. Why you should be so much working hard to make them Krishna conscious unless you love Krishna? That is the sign of love. I love Krishna, but I do nothing for Krishna. That is nonsense. You see? If we all say, we love Krishna, but we do nothing for Krishna, Prabhupada is saying that is not love, that is nonsense. Isn't it? So, why? Because we can understand, if people become Krishna conscious, and all their material existence will come to end. That is the best welfare I can do for any living entity, is to give them Krishna consciousness. There is one, before reciting Bhagavatam to Vidura, Maitreya Rishi also says, why I want to speak on Bhagavatam. Why he wants to speak about the activities of the Lord. So this comes in the 8th chapter, 2nd shloka. He says, So aham nirnam shulla sukhaya dukham mahad gatanam virmayatasya pravartaye bhagavatam puranam yad aha sakshad bhagavan rishibhyaha. It's a very interesting verse which Maitreya Rishi says, let me now begin speaking on the Bhagavat Puran, which was directly spoken to the great sages by the personality of Godhead. You see? Pravartaye Bhagavatam Puranam yad aha sakshad bhagavan rishibhyaha. Bhagavan rishibhyaha directly spoke to the great sages, this Bhagavatam Puranam. Why did he speak? Soham nirnam shulla sukhaya. Because people in the material world, for shulla sukhaya, shulla means very little, for very little happiness, what are they doing? Dukkham mahadgatanam. They are taking lots and lots and lots of miseries. Mahad dukkhana. Just to get shulla sukhaya, people are taking great miseries in this world. So, why Krishna spoke Bhagavatam to these great sages? To relieve people from these great miseries. Viramaya tasya. Viramaya means to make them relieved from this mahad dukkhana. The Supreme Lord directly spoke Bhagavatam to these great sages. So the same Bhagavatam now I want to speak to you. So let me now begin speaking on the Bhagavat Puran, which was directly spoken to the great sages by the personality of Godhead for the benefit of those who are entangled in extreme miseries for the sake of very little pleasure. So Prabhupada very beautifully explains that if we speak Bhagavatam in Guru Parampara, then that is the real solutions to all our material problems of existence. The sage Maitreya proposed to speak on Bhagavatam because it was specially compiled, traditionally comes down in disciplic succession for the solution of all problems of human society. And actually we should have faith in these words of the scriptures. Why we should have faith? This is not some ordinary faith. How by hearing Bhagavad Katha people will be benefited? One should understand because that is having the potency of the Lord. It is not ordinary sound. Srimad Bhagavad Katha is as good as Supreme Lord. When Supreme Lord is present, there will be Ram Rajya. Everybody will be benefited. Similarly, when the Bhagavad Katha of the Lord is present in the midst of the people, then it is also like Ram Rajya. It is the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when Supreme Lord is present, all inauspiciousness will go away. Everything will be auspicious in the life of people. So Prabhupada had so much faith, and with that faith Prabhupada went to the Western countries that even though these people are filled with Rajoguna and Tamoguna, but somehow or other, if they give oral reception to Bhagavad Katha, then their life will be changed. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, only one who is fortunate can have the opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees of the Lord. See? So this is also very important, that Bhagavatam has to be heard properly, not only in parampara, it has to be heard in association of devotees of the Lord. So that's how we can see that the Lord very mercifully not only performed, not only appeared in the material world, He performed wonderful activities, and He also left behind the narratives so that we can describe and we can hear. And by this narration and by this hearing of Krishna Katha, people's material existence will be terminated. Their whole life will become filled with auspiciousness. So we'll stop with this. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.